Hi everyone, in this video we're going to explore a very unique lexical phenomenon. Did you know that not all languages talk about hands and arms in the same way? Some use a single word for both, while others clearly distinguish between them. We'll discover how languages around the world lexicalize these body parts and maybe even figure out why. Languages adopt two main strategies. First, identity. That's when a single word refers to both the hand and the arm. For example, in Armenian, derk covers both. This is found in 228 out of 617 languages studied. Then there is differentiation, using distinct words, like in English with hand for the hand and arm for the arm. This is the case in 389 out of 617 languages. But it's not always that simple. For example, in Indonesian, tangan refers to the hand and the forearm, while lengan is used only for the full arm. Some languages, like Bambara, use a primary word, but have secondary term for clarification. Researchers have uncovered a fascinating link with geography. Languages that distinguish between hand and arm dominate in regions far from the equator, like Europe or North America. But near the equator, the opposite is true. Identity is more common. Look at Central Africa or parts of Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, in Australia, almost all languages differentiate. One hypothesis points to climate. In colder regions, where clothing is more fitted, it might be useful to distinguish the exposed hand from the covered arm. In warmer climates, where arms are originally less covered, a single word might be sufficient. However, since this is just a hypothesis, it's not yet fully proven. This phenomenon of identity and differentiation also exists to a lesser extent for the words hand and finger. Languages that don't distinguish between hand and finger are mostly concentrated in Australia and North America, with a few cases in Africa and Southeast Asia. The vast majority of languages in most parts of the world differentiate the two words, from Europe to Africa, through Asia and South America. But why this difference then? This time there doesn't seem to be a clear link with climate, but rather with lifestyle. Researchers have proposed a hypothesis and may have found an explanation. Hunter-gatherer languages, like those of Aboriginal Australians, tend to use a single word for hand and finger, because in these cultures, rings are rare and fingers don't need to be lexically distinguished. But in agricultural societies, where rings are more common, languages often differentiate the two, like in English or Albanian. Rings make fingers more visible and thus lexically distinct. All of this shows just how much languages reflect our environment and cultures. Whether it's one word for hand and arm or two distinct terms, these linguistic choices tell a story about us, our needs, and our world. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe, leave a like, and tell me in the comments, how do you say hand and arm in your language? Are they the same word? See ya!